Hello friends, welcome back to another video. If you're new and not subscribed, I'm Kayla Bame and you should really think about subscribing to my channel because all the best things in the world happen when you do that. So, subscribe. For this week's video, we're gonna add another video onto the series. We're doing a Kayla Bame Creations voiceover. And since it's October, okay, it's still September by the time I'm gonna upload this video, but it's gonna be October soon, okay? We're doing a fall wreath pumpkin cork DIY. Does that sound right? It's something my mom did. It looked cool. So I'm gonna do a voiceover on it and we're gonna make it 10 times better, am I right? So let's just jump into it.
Okay, so for this DIY, you are going to need to pick up some harvest pumpkin and football plaques. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, you're gonna need 2. And then you're gonna tear these bad boys apart. We need all those pumpkins, and the ribbon that's holding them together is useless to us now. They're only held together by staples, so it shouldn't be that hard. Just use a little bit of your bicep muscle and you should tear it apart pretty easily. But if you can't tear it apart, I guess you can use pliers or something. That might work too. And once you're done tearing them apart, you have all these pumpkins and some footballs to start crafting with. And now you're gonna get some cork. I have no idea where this cork came from, but it's sticky on the back, so you're gonna peel the stick off and stick the pumpkin. And because we didn't like the style of the pumpkin plaques, you're gonna put the print face down on the sticky part because we're gonna make it our own style. And now you're gonna be extra super duper careful with a razor blade and you're gonna cut the pumpkin out of the cork. And you're gonna do this for all of the pumpkins because in order to make a wreath, you need more than 2 pumpkins. And now that you've sliced it all up, you can see that there is fringe all over the place. You have to make that look neat because we're trying to make this the nicest harvest wreath you have ever seen. And the fringe isn't gonna help. And now we're gonna take our freshly corked pumpkin and trace it on a piece of paper. I'm not sure why we're doing this yet, but we will find out later. It's gonna be a surprise. Okay, so we actually were tracing a pumpkin onto the back of a cork, and now we're gonna cut out the pumpkin shape from our cork so we can stick it onto the other pumpkin to make a double-sided corked pumpkin. An extremely genius idea by KB Creations. Now you're gonna peel and stick. And once you stick it on, line it up perfectly and we're gonna have the double corked pumpkin. The cork is gonna make it look extra harvesty. We need it to be double-sided in case somebody looks at the wreath from behind. And then you're gonna get a football and cork up the football. You can make a football wreath too if you're into sports. This is a dual DIY. And what better way to distress a wreath than by using ink pads? You have to distress it. You must distress it. So get out your handy dandy distressing paintbrush and you know the drill. We've done this before. Smudge the edges to make it look like it's dirty, because farmhouse is dirty. So here in this clip, we're just going to be showing you our technique for distressing the edges. We are a master at distressing, so I recommend that you use this technique because it might not look as good if you use a different technique. So use our technique because we are the master distressors in this house, okay? Other techniques are cool, but if you want to be a master farmhouse distressor like myself, you need to use this technique. We've mastered it and we spent years mastering it, so distress it this way. And then you're going to add little lines for the pumpkin because pumpkins have those lines in them. We're trying to make this a realistic farmhouse DIY, harvest DIY, so you need to do this to make it as realistic as possible. And look at how real that pumpkin looks. Wow. You're going to continue to use the master distressing technique on the football if you want to make a football wreath. This is what you got to do, guys. I'm telling you, this technique, this is how you do it. Look at, oh my gosh, what a beautiful technique. If you want it to look this good, you got to distress it. And once you're done distressing, you got to bust out your hot glue gun. If you don't have a hot glue gun, you need to go watch another channel because we use hot glue a lot over here. So a hot glue gun is a must. You gotta glue it together. Hot glue is the sturdiest form to keep your DIY together, so you can't really use anything else other than hot glue. I just realized that we weren't making a football wreath with that football. Apparently, we might have ran out of pumpkins from the 2 plaques that we used earlier, so we did a little optical illusion and made you guys think that the football was a pumpkin even though it was really a football. So tricked ya. And just to be extra sure that the wreath doesn't fall apart, we've had this problem in the past, put more hot glue on the back. We need to make sure that when the door closes, the wreath doesn't fall apart. And then you're gonna take a little sliver of rope and coat it with hot glue and stick it on the back. This might be used as a way to hang the wreath, so make sure you just squirt a big glob on there so it doesn't fall off when you hang it. This is what it should look like right now. Use this as a reference point. This is the point you should be at. Then you're gonna get some natural raffia. It has to be natural raffia. I don't know if you can use any other kind. You're gonna get a bowl of water and pour it in there with a pitcher. It has to be poured in with a pitcher. And you're gonna squirt some orange jack-o'-lantern paint in there because we're making a jack-o'-lantern wreath. If you don't have orange paint, I suppose you can just use orange juice and that'll work just the same. It might make your hands a little bit sticky, but it's just the more organic way of making this DIY is with orange juice. And then you're gonna dip your raffia into the organic, freshly squeezed orange juice. This is going to dye the raffia, I guess. You could also just spray paint it, but since we're going the dip route, this is how I dipped my raffia in the paint slash orange juice mixture. It made it tinted a little bit orange, not too brightly orange, because this is a farmhouse DIY. We don't use bright oranges in the DIYs. So as you can see, this method is a little bit messy. That's why I have a paper towel out. But you are going to take your raffia and make it into a large bow like this. You might want to wear gloves for this if you used orange juice because your hands will get extremely sticky. So if you don't like your hands being sticky, you should wear gloves for this process. But this is our finished tinted orange raffia bow. It's just a slight natural tint, nothing too crazy. And then you're gonna get your hot glue gun and squirt some on the bow and make sure that is secure on top of the football because we don't want people to know that that is actually a football right there. We want them to think that it's a pumpkin. So we're gonna use the bow to hide it. And if you didn't like the length of the bow, you could just take scissors and cut away at the raffia. That will work. Because we wanted to add some volume to our bow, you're just gonna squeeze it together to make it look nice and plump. Make sure the raffia is sitting right. Yeah, there we go. Yep, pump it up, make it nice and plump. And here is our finished product, our cork pumpkin wreath with our nice orange juice tinted bow. This just screams fall and harvest, people.
Alright, so that's it for this week's video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave in the comments down below if you want me to continue this series where I do voiceovers on my mom's videos. These are really fun videos to make, so let me know if you want me to continue this series. But I'll see you guys back here next week. Peace.